in the way and to make some good trouble. My name is Dan Williams. I'm a college professor and a concerned citizen, and as Sin likes to say, a loudmouth. Which is why she and the Lake County Indivisibles asked me to talk to you guys today about the theme of today's protest. The phrase, good trouble. It comes from Congressman John Lewis, a civil rights leader, a man of conscience, and a national treasure.
Oh no.
And thunder. All right. I like it. Bring it on. So when John was growing up as a kid in rural Alabama, his parents and grandparents advised
Dan
him,
Williams.
which probably a lot of us have heard, right? That's just the way it is. Don't get in the way and don't cause trouble. And for a while, he listened. But as he saw things like signs that said whites only and colored folks, he saw injustice all around him. And one day, he realized he had a choice. He could listen to his parents, or he could listen to his conscience. Luckily for us, he chose to listen to his conscience, and thank goodness he did. He learned from Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King that nonviolence isn't weakness, it's strength with discipline. Now, Rosa told him, you too can do something, and that's the first lesson of good trouble. You too can do something. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to have the perfect plan. You just have to see injustice and refuse to stay silent. Now, John Lewis gave us a clear path to follow. He said, when you see something that is not right, not fair, and not just, you have a moral obligation to say something, to do something. And that's why we're here today. And John just didn't talk about it. He lived it. At 23 years old, he was a keynote speaker at the March on Washington. 23. When I was that age, I was still trying to figure out how to do laundry. And my mom can back me up on that. And at 3, he was changing the course of American history. Now, 2 years later, on the day that we now call Bloody Sunday, he led 600 peaceful protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, where they were marching for the right to vote. They were met with violence from state troopers. They were beaten, but not broken. Their courage was broadcast across the nation, and that moment helped lead directly to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Now that is what good trouble can do. It isn't about rage. It isn't about violence. It's about standing firm in the name of justice and refusing to give in. And we need that same kind of courage now. Here in Florida, there are people in power trying to drag us backwards. They're banning books, attacking LGBTQ plus kids, turning public schools into political battlegrounds, and now they're coming after our safety nets, like cutting programs like SNAP, Medicaid, and housing assistance that keeps our families alive and afloat in their time of need. And just a few miles from here, they opened something called Alligator Alcatraz, and it's a detention camp for immigrants. It sounds like a theme park from hell, but it's very real, and it should horrify us. This isn't the first time in our country that we've done something like this. During World War II, we rounded up Japanese American families, including children, and locked them in internment camps. These were US citizens who had done nothing wrong. We told ourselves then it was for national security, but the truth was that it was fear and racism. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. Yep. Years from now, people will look back on what we're doing today. They'll ask, who spoke up? Who stood by? And who tried to stop it? That's why we're here. Not just to remember history, but to refuse to repeat it. Now, I want to tell you a quick little story, right? Now, when I first started going to the Tesla takedown protests, which, by the way, is where I met Sin, I tried to get my friends to come along, but they were scared. They thought that we were going to go light Cybertrucks on fire and burn the dealership to the ground. And I had to explain to them that that is not good trouble. That's just vandalism and also very much illegal. What we were doing is we were using our First Amendment right to assemble, like we're doing today, to be seen and to be heard, like we're doing today. Now, the media doesn't always show that. They zoom in on the loudest moment or the wildest sign and ignore the rest. They miss the real story, that regular people are showing up with love in their hearts, determination in their voices, and a deep belief that justice matters. Now that is good trouble. Now, having said that, just because something is legal doesn't necessarily make it right. Now, what's happening now with our immigration crackdowns might be legal, but it doesn't make it just. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill that passed on July 4th gave ICE an unbelievable $75 billion, that's with a B, over the next 4 years. $45 billion to expand detention camps, and $30 billion to ramp up deportations and arrests. To put that into perspective, ICE's whole entire budget last year was just under $10 billion. They didn't just double it, they multiplied it more than 7 times over, which is crazy. So the question becomes, even if the law allows it, is that who we want to be?
No!
Right? No is right. According to a Gallup poll released on July 11th, most Americans say no. 62% of the country disapproves of how Trump is handling immigration, and 79% believe that immigration is a good thing for the United States. So while the law might back this crackdown, the people do not. And in a democracy, that matters, right? Also, in the spirit of good trouble, I want to talk about one more thing, and of course it's the current hot topic, the Epstein files. I know. Now, Trump and his MAGA allies have promised to release them. It has always been one of their rallying cries, a symbol of exposing corruption. But now, they claim the files don't exist. They keep telling us to stop asking about them. And Trump even mocks his own supporters, calling them stupid for even asking about them. But here's the thing, people are still asking about them. And that's a crack in the MAGA armor that we can't ignore. How many of you have had friends or family who supported Trump?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I do too. And this is the first time that some of them are starting to ask these hard questions. This is the moment not to shame them, but to welcome them back. If someone is questioning what's currently going on, do not say, "I told you so." Instead, say, "I'm glad you're asking these questions." Now, when I studied psychology in college, I learned that people don't leave cults because of confrontation. They instead leave because they start asking questions themselves. And right now, these questions are bubbling up. Now is the time to reach out. Now is the time to open the door and remind people that doing the right thing isn't about who you voted for in the past. It's about what you choose to do now and in the future. And while the Republican-led House has voted 7 times on amendments against requiring the Epstein files being released, and only instead offered a toothless, non-binding resolution, the truth still matters. The pressure still matters. And we all still matter. Because when enough of us speak up across parties, across beliefs, those small cracks become larger each and every day. So let's have those conversations. Let's make some good trouble together. In a few minutes, we're going to begin our march through downtown. That's our good trouble for today. This is us getting in the way. This is us using our voice and our feet to say something. So take the energy you feel right now. Take the inspiration of John Lewis. Take your belief in what is right and what is just. And when we march, remember his words. Be bold. Be courageous. Stand up, and speak out. Clermont, are you ready to get in the way?
Yes!
You ready to make some good, necessary trouble?
Yes!
All right.